Okay, if everyone can mute for now, and then when there's time for interaction, I'll have you unmute to share. So welcome today to our webinar on AT Tools for Creative Storytelling. My name is Rose Roscoe. I'm an occupational therapist and assistive technology specialist with the Special Ed Technology Center, and also I work for Bellevue School District part-time. And I love using creative tools for writing, and the best part about books is not only are they good for writing, but they're good for reading. So you can use them for both. They're very versatile, they're engaging, sky's the limit on what you can do. So I hope to give you some new ideas today to spur you on with your bookmaking with your students. Okay, some of you have already done this already. But if you haven't already, if you can just put in the chat window your name and role and what tools you use for storytelling with your students, that would be awesome. And I told you a little bit about myself, so I'm going to keep going with this so we can jump into some tools. So we're going to talk a little bit about the agenda and the goals for today, and then the main 4 tools I'm going to talk about with you are Pictello app, Book Creator app and website, Story Creator app, and Clicker Books, which is both part of a suite of software, Clicker 7 and Clicker 8, and it's also an app. And then we're going to talk about how to use digital book tools for UDL lessons. So how does this fit in with Universal Design for Learning, which is a little bit of that, because I always have to connect in UDL. And then we're going to have some share time to share ideas and then wrap it up. So I'm hoping that you're going to learn how the multimedia features of these 4 different bookmaking tools would support diverse learning needs for your students. I'm going to show you some specific examples using Clicker Books, Pictello, Book Creator, and Story Creator programs. And I'm looking at them both as a UDL representation tool and as a UDL expression tool. So no matter what part of the lesson you're in, there's usually always a place for one of these bookmaking tools. And I'm hoping that you will also understand how to set up accessibility features in each storytelling tool for alternative access. 2 of them happen to be much more user-friendly for accessibility, setting up switches. The other 2, there might be roundabout ways to do that, but we'll talk a little bit toward the end about that, and that might be something I can follow up with you if you have a specific student who really needs that and you need help. We have our SETSI Tech Assist for 30 minutes. So sometimes people get excited about an idea and they want to try to implement it with their students and they need help. So I could be available for that as a follow-up. And then finally, just as you're listening to these different tools and ideas that I'm sharing, just jot down some notes of how you might use one of these tools with your student to create that great option for them. So hopefully one of these ideas in particular might resonate with you, and then I'd love to hear how you use it. So we're going to start with Pictello, and if you guys don't mind telling me in the chat window how many of you have used Pictello, I'd love to know how familiar you are. Pictello is an app, and as you can see here, it's for story making. You can make social stories, visual schedules. You can make books with pictures, video, and voice. And the awesome part about Pictello is it's super friendly for accessibility, setting up accessibility. And it also is really easy to share out your stories. However, what there isn't in Pictello that I know of is a place where people can go post their stories and share them. You can send them to other people that are, in your same Pictello sharing site, or you can share them through a Dropbox, but it's a little bit clunky. But as far as like sharing across districts and, having a place where there's a whole bunch of books to draw from, they don't have that yet, which would be really nice. Okay, so Teresa has used it. Awesome. So I wanted to show you this picture. This is actually quite a few years ago now, where I was working in an elementary self-contained program, and we were doing fine motor. We had different stations in the classroom. OTs classically do fine motor stations. So this was at the beginning of the iPad era. So I was using the iPad with Pictello, and I had pre-recorded the steps to this fine motor task. So I had pictures of each step and a recorded instruction. And the idea was, could these boys learn how to tap the iPad to hear the instructions, see it, and then follow it along if they were stuck on what to do. So in this particular video clip, I actually, we did a lot of coaching still. I mean, right down to grabbing their finger and showing them how to point. They were cognitively able to do it. They just didn't know how to yet because it was pretty new. But this is just an example, again, of using Pictello to just give a step-by-step instructions. This might come in handy with the transition student who's learning a new task out in the community. So anyway, that was one idea. So representation would be using it as a book where the students are learning from the book, but they're not writing it yet. And then this one, UDL Expression. This is I'm going to show you this video. It's a really sweet video of these young boys or these older boys using Pictello to kind of give them a voice, right? So using it as an expression tool. So this is a website. Let's see, I'm going to look at the chat here. I think someone had before I play this. Okay, yes, someone has observed with a teacher using in the classroom, but not seen the one in charge. Oh yeah, okay, so when you guys are writing in the chat, make sure you're replying to all panelists and attendees. It's kind of a little bit crazy, but that's, yeah. Okay, great. So I'm gonna keep going now, but I wanted to check that. So I'm gonna go to this website and show you this video. And you know what, I might have to stop sharing before I do this because I wanna make sure that I use the computer audio. So I'm gonna do that one more time. Yep, share computer sound. There we go. Can you guys see that? Someone unmute if you don't see it. It's still spinning, but hopefully you can at least see it. And hopefully I can share my screen and show you my Pictello and we'll talk about it. But this is a classroom in the UK. And these young boys who I think were high school, maybe transition age, were using Pictello with support to write their ideas and their stories. And they really enjoyed the engagement of the photos and the video, and they could record their own voice, right? So if a student had a hard time typing or composing text, they could just say their thoughts, right? And record them that way into the book, which was really fun. And then it's super easy to kind of share a PDF with family or friends, which they did in this case. But there's testimony in this video, what you can watch later. I will share this PowerPoint with you, of the teacher talking about how this really gave them a sense of pride in creating their own work and sharing it out and have it being something that was very interesting and fun to look at. Not that, like, if they tried to handwrite it, they would feel like no one would know what they were saying. So, you know, all the storybook apps have that, but this was a particularly fun video kind of showing why it was so successful with these boys. So it's not just for younger students, older students really benefit from this. Another couple stories I'll throw in about Pictello. I used this a lot when I worked in a transition program with students that were out in the community. And I mentioned this earlier, but we, let's say whether they're in the classroom or out in the community, we created videos. Like, let's say they had, their task was vacuuming, and they would look at you and wait for you to give them a step-by-step instruction of what to do and how to get started. So instead, we would cue them to go watch the video. Okay, I need to go into the closet. I need to grab the vacuum. I need to plug it in carefully here. So you can kind of use it as a teaching tool in that respect with transition kids. So that's how I used it with those guys. But again, you could also use it as an expression tool.
A-C-K-I-E. Well done. Now, what do you think Ashley's doing? What do you think Ashley's doing? Is he happy that I'm waving at the camera? We might say, Ashley.
Is smiling.
Yeah.
The very first time we used Pictello with our group of students, I was really surprised to see how intuitive it was. It's so easy to use. We've even found that if we have visiting staff members, it's the boys themselves that will teach the visiting staff members how to use it.
You should make sure you go on this. 3, 2, 1.
The boys found it just a great means of expressing their storytelling skills. We've been thrilled with the quality of work that they've given, but they're also excited that they're going to be able to share these in PDF form with their parents or to others via iCloud that also have Pictello. So it's opened a whole wide world for those boys.
On the next interview, he's eating lunch.
We were all dressed.
All right, I'll just show you that piece of it. You can see it's kind of fun. It just tells a whole nother story when you see that in person. So, okay. So this slide is just for your reference and how you navigate Pictello, right down to what are each of the little icons mean, how do you create a folder, create a story, edit. But I think it's always more fun to show people in person. So I've been practicing this. I haven't done it for a little while, but I'm going to actually share my iPad screen with you. So I'm going to give this a try. And hopefully you'll see my iPad screen up here. And Andrea, tell me if this doesn't work. Otherwise, I'm assuming people can see. Okay, according to my screen, I can, oh, sorry. There we are. Okay. So I just want to give you a little tour of Pictello and one of the things I like about this. So if you see here, if I open a story like Fairy Wings, at the bottom, do you see how the 3 choices are either manual, autoplay, or slideshow? So if I want to use this story with a student who needs switch access, all I have to do is I go back to this page and I go to the little gear shift in the bottom right corner. See it down there? And there's all kinds of settings here, but if you scroll down to configure switches, it's about halfway down right here. See that where I'm touching? So if I touch that, right now it says no switches, but if I choose one switch and then I go back, now when I open Fairy Wings, look at there, there's a 4th option at the bottom that says switch. Excuse me. Okay, I need a quick drink. So now that was, I've set it up there and I turn it on my settings. And if I had switches plugged into the iPad, now it would work with switches. In the meantime, I can just choose to navigate this manually. If the student
Fairy Wings.
if the student is able to swipe, and right now it's set that I can either use the arrows at the top of the screen, you can see me touching up there, or I can swipe my finger right to left, and the swiping action also turns the page. If I tap on the screen,
She used many things to make my wings.
And yeah, and so I can navigate either way. So I like this. If students are able to have touch access, they can practice that action of when I swipe or touch the arrow, I can turn the page, I can make it read. But if you have students that aren't able to do that physically, you can just go back to Fairy Wings and go to autoplay. And now it'll just all they have to do is click one switch and it'll turn the page and play the
Fairy Wings.
See it automatically.
Megan is making fairy wings for me.
And in this case, I have to tap it once for each page turn, but it will both turn the page and read.
Megan made lots of shapes to get my wings right.
This is a setting I used with another high school, or actually, it was a high school student. She was able to learn to use this with one switch, and she actually had created some fun stories for preschoolers. And she had a little job where once a week she went out to a preschool site and she sat in front of them and we projected her iPad and she turned the page and read the book with one click of the switch. And then she'd have little props, like if it was Itsy Bitsy Spider story, she'd have a big spider on her lap and then she would hit the switch. And the little kids loved it. They came up to her, they wanted to learn, they wanted to touch the spider, they wanted to see how she was making all that work. So these are just some of the neat things you can do with Pictello that you can't do with other story making apps. So I'm going to pause for a minute. And do you guys have any questions? You can just unmute, or Andrew, you can tell me if there's anything in the chat. Are we good?
I have one quick question. Are they compatible just with iPad? Is Pictello just compatible with iPads, or what devices does it work on?
It's a really good question. Right now, iPads is the only device I know it works for. It's only an app. But we're going to talk about two other tools that can also be used as Chrome apps, extensions, and/or website access in addition to apps, which I know makes it a little more versatile. But if you're on an iPad with somebody, yeah, this would be a really good tool for that. Very versatile. Just a couple more things. I tried to just only have a few apps in this webinar so we could go in a little deeper. If you wanted to create something new, at the bottom of the screen, you'll see a plus sign. See where my finger's touching? So and an easy way to do is just to choose this wizard mode, which will just walk you through the steps and tell you what to do. Super intuitive. So if I was going to say garden flowers.
Garden.
And can you see how I have word prediction? On my settings, I turn on word prediction, and you can see the word prediction bar down there guiding my writing. So that's really a nice feature that's not in other story making apps either, is the word prediction. Okay, so now after I type in my title, I can listen to it.
Garden flowers.
And if that's what I want, then I just hit next at the top right. And then it says choose a cover picture. So I just click on choose picture. I'm going to choose it from my photo library. And I'm going to choose that one and use. So there, you know, it allows me to easily change that picture if I want to, but I'm going to go with that one. And then finally, choose a voice. I'll stick with Tracy, and then I can, oops. Oh, I thought it was going to let me, oh, I told it to go ahead and read with the computer voice, but I could have recorded my own voice on that last page. And I don't know how I go back now on that, but you could also tap record your own voice, and I could have recorded, which I was going to do, but I won't waste a lot of time on that. So again, I can go back, change the title, add some more pages, or I can just say I'm done. And then I save it, and it goes now at the bottom of my page in Garden Flowers. So you can make folders here and put stories in folders to easily access them. Easy to make. You can actually insert pictures or videos. So that's another kind of cool thing about Pictello. So I think with that, we'll head back to our PowerPoint and go back to another tool. Okay. So hopefully you guys see my screen again. I also, oh, here's just a few more slides you can refer back to on what I just showed you. How do you create a story in wizard mode? So I just gave you a really quick visual, but you can actually type text at the top. Like I made a title page that only has the title at the top, but on the additional pages, you can have a label at the top and text at the bottom, which could be multiple sentences if you want. So that's kind of cool. And then accessibility wise, if you forget how I got into that switch access that I showed you, I just have screenshots right here on how you do that, and then how you can see that on the bottom. So I already demoed all this. So let's go on to another tool called Book Creator. This is probably my favorite tool because not only is it very affordable, either free or $5, unless you can also do a website subscription, but it's super easy to use and really fun. So if you don't need switch access, this is a really good tool. There is a way to do it, but it's a little more cumbersome to set up switch access with this. But almost all the other students, it's a really fun and easy way to create. You can see here on the left upper that I created something that was just with some random pictures and text that was just like a comic strip. And this is often very engaging for a lot of students, especially kind of middle school boys or 9-10-year-old boys who are like, I don't want to write. But if you make, you know, if it's a graphic novel or you make your own comic strip, that can be very exciting to a lot of students. So, and kind of the sky's the limit with all of these kind of bookmaking apps. Oftentimes my first thing out of my head is, oh, let's make an all about me book, or let's make a book about something I know of. But look at all these other possible things that you could do. Of course, interactive stories, but you could do like a digital portfolio for older students. You could do a research journal, a poetry book. I love that one. Science reports, instruction manuals. I mentioned that earlier for Pictello, a how-to book. And then, of course, the About Me book, which most of us have tried sometime in our career with students. And then these comic adventures, which I talked about. And the neat thing about Book Creator that I mentioned earlier, it's accessible across all platforms. It has a website, iOS app, Android app, and a Chrome extension. So that's really super cool. If you go to the website, and I'm going to demonstrate the app today, but on the website, when you log in, there is a free access to start with, and you can make up to 40 books with a free account, which is actually really good. And I had some teachers get creative about having students each create their own book and then combine their pages into one book and delete all the other ones so that you could even create more. So if you don't have a lot of budget to buy a subscription for the online part, you can go a long ways with 40 free books. And then the app, super cheap. I think there's a free app, Book Creator app, and there's $4.99 for the full featured app. So really easy and accessible that way. So when I did some more research on Book Creator, their website is fantastic. In fact, I found even more things there today. I first did this workshop a little over a year ago, and these are still really pertinent items. So I'm going to take you out to these websites, and then I'm going to show you even one more that was made since remote learning started. So with the big emphasis out there on social emotional learning, I really think no matter what your role is, if you're working on reading and writing skills or have any other reason to create books, this is an opportunity for you to tap into supporting that student's social emotional learning. So let me take you out to this website. There is a gal that's writing some excellent material that she gives you really specific suggestions on how to do these books. Okay, can you guys see that all right? It says Book Creator on projects to support social emotional learning. So this gal's named Dr. Monica Burns. And what's great about this is actually created in Book Creator. So you can get this detailed and, or it can be very simple, of course, as well. So she actually has all these ideas. And going forward a little more, she's got a video about tips for using it, but I wanted to show you some of her ideas. So for each of these pages, these double layouts, she has the title like creating collaborative books. So what kind of things can go in there? Okay, I guess this is the general about the authors. Let me keep going. But the cool thing about collaborative books is that you can create them with students. So like right now during remote learning, this is a way to connect students socially where they can actually collaborate on one project by doing it online together. I haven't actually done this collaborative book yet, but it's pretty cool that she gives you some nice instructions on how to do it. What's in a name? So she gives you just these nice bullets over here on the right on what that, screenshot and what you would include in that book. And she goes on to talk about global exchange guide. Like how would you find like a global partner maybe to be your collaborator or bookmaking partner? Writing about virtual reality, what might that look like places you want to go visit somewhere in the world and make a book about that. Virtual, setting thoughtfulness goals, using strengths, talking about your own strengths and kindness, feeling book about feelings. So I love this because not only does she give you an idea, but she gives you some real detailed thoughts about how to follow up on that. So that was one resource I wanted to show you because I just felt like it was so practical just to go back there, pick one of those books and use that as a starting point for Book Creator. This is kind of fun because this was originally something someone created in Book Creator and now they got it published on Amazon. So just to give you another quick idea, is that going to come up? Yeah, so it's called Hugo's Adventure. And if you look inside here, you can just see, I think they end up creating a PDF out of it, which you can also do. But the cool thing about book creators, if your student creates something or you do, it's really easy to publish it. So this is just a cute little storybook. Get out of there. Okay. Where you can just go through and see each of the pages they created in Book Creator, and eventually this person was able to publish her book. But this was just fun. So maybe a student's gonna, you know, write a book. Maybe you're gonna write a book and do it in Book Creator. And then this is the next page. This is the one, oh, it's not the one I found today. Okay, one more. This is a really, rather than me demo it, which I might do a little bit, this is a really cool video. And again, on possibilities for how you could use Book Creator and how it looks, because it's so, there's so many options. That's what I love. So I'm gonna go ahead and show this video. Hopefully this will work for you. Okay, so you got the idea there. Okay, and then this final one I just added today, I want to show you too. It's called the Big Book Creator Activity Book. More than 50 ideas, and here you can actually download this book. So if you have a Book Creator account, you can have it right there within Book Creator, so you can have easy access to it. So I'm just going to show you this web link, and then again, I'll be sending this all to you so you have these links. So if you just scroll to here, it'll come up. There we go. Okay, so now this is just a book where I'm just tapping this arrow to look at ideas. So you can see each of these half pages is an idea on how you might set up a Book Creator page. So it's really pretty limitless, and you know, everything from, you know, a maze to, I love this one, double click on the area of the orchestra to hear them play, and then how many can you name? So kind of interactive activities and writing, like the best pet is. So some good sentence starters to get writing, you know, kind of creative writing going. Read a book and review it. And then here's kind of a tic-tac-toe kind of thing. So I love, if you get stuck on what to do with your students on a certain day, you can just open this Big Book Creator activity book and see if you can get inspired with one of these fun ideas. So I just wanted to show you that because I thought, again, another really useful tool for getting some lesson planning going. Okay, so I'm going to stop for a minute and see if there are any questions, or does anyone have a story to tell about Book Creator, about how they're already using it to book creator. It's the app right here on the far right. And so if I go to all books, well, I just want to show you this first. This is one I made in my last webinar that I just created, as we went. Here's kind of a quick, there's several templates for making a comic. So we could start with that one. This, I wanted to tell a story about. I did an AT consult on a kiddo who was just, it was like pulling teeth getting him to write anything. And he was about that age group of 6th or 7th grade. And so I knew someone told me he liked Titanic. So we had a book about it. And I had him take pictures of the book and write captions. And I got him to actually engage and do some writing that way. Otherwise, he was not gonna, if I gave him a blank piece of paper in a Word document and said, write me a paragraph about the Titanic, he would have had a shutdown. So we had some fun with this. And in some ways it was a little bit random, like his first attempt at this, he was being kind of goofy, but the fact that he engaged and made choices and was trying it was really a good start. And of course we could work on refining and getting it more on topic and more content, but that was pretty fun. Here's another little format for a new book. So to create a new book, I can actually tap new book in the upper right, or just choose like this template, for instance. And look how intuitive it was. It tells me it has a picture there that I can choose. So if I want to add a picture, I just tap on the picture and I'll go with my flower theme again, because I took a whole bunch of flower pictures here. Where are they? There they are. There's some purple ones. Ooh, I like those. Okay, and then, or I could take a picture or choose a picture. So I'm going to go ahead and choose another flower picture. Go with pink. Ooh, that's cool. And then if I want to add text or voice, there's a plus sign in the upper right. See where my finger is up there? This pull down menu is pretty much everything you need to make the book. So it happened to pop up on the speech bubbles, but if I go back to the left, this is actually the main one. So you can see at the bottom, I got media, I have comics, and I have more. So if I just start with media, I already added some photos. Now I can choose a pen, and I have black here, and I can say, ooh, purple. And then I could go, let's do a pink pen this time. So I can either just use it like an annotation on top of it. I can say I'm done. I can move this box now around. If I don't want it right on there, I can change the size. And then I can go back and add more. Go back to media, add sound. I love pink flowers. Okay, and then I put it in there. So now I've got a sound clip in there. And let's see, do I want to add anything else? Oh, some stickers. I don't know if these stickers actually go with flowers, but I could go amazing. Okay. Then I can have that in there. Oh, and I can move my picture on. So you can see how kids would just enjoy playing around with that media. And then since we're in a comic, I could choose a speech bubble if I wanted to for them to say something with, and type in beautiful. And then again, I can make that smaller and then right here wherever I want that. Okay, so that's kind of some fun you can have with this. So just imagine what your students would do. You can do more things. I think there's a background too, where you can choose different background colors, but you just kind of go through and play with that. You can add a text box too. So I do the speech bubble, but I can say, awesome, done. And now I have a text box with the word awesome. So I can actually change the color of that text right there because it doesn't show up very well. I can change the color and size and all that too. So just fun with the comic book. And then if I want to go to the next page, now it's a full page, I can go ahead and do the same thing, just hit the plus and go into that create mode. So that's just a little fun about it. There aren't, I'm not aware of the, oh, here's some more fun patterns and paper backgrounds you can do. Editor settings. Yeah, I'm gonna have to explore this more because I think it's kind of a backdoor method again to set up switches. Yeah, but one of the other best things about Bookmaker or Book Creator that you heard earlier is that students can publish their work online. You can literally send a link home to parents and they can just click the link and watch the published books. So super easy to publish and share, which is another huge advantage to Book Creator. Okay. All right, time's flying, so I'm going to keep moving here. Awesome. Thank you, Michelle, for posting that. Book Creator. Reading sign language books. Oh, cool. Okay. So Story Creator I threw in there because sometimes you just want an easy free app, maybe for a younger student that, you know, like preschool or kindergarten, and something that's easy for parents to do at home to practice, doesn't have a lot of tools, isn't super complicated. So as you can see here, it has a really fun, simple, and intuitive interface. You can just add photos, text, audio. So really a lot of similar features to Bookmaker or Book Creator, right? And again, it's free. There's a pro version or a free version. I think the pro version is only a couple bucks. I'd have to go back and look at that. And again, you can create and narrate stories. So it's just fun. It's almost like having a coloring book where you can just have that big crayon, choose a color, draw some pictures on there. Super easy. And then I tried to go through a little thing here where I talked about UDL. So again, the representation would be, how would I have a book already made that could be used with Story Creator or any of the other apps for that matter. But here's an idea for a social story. So I actually made a book about, you know, you think of students with autism that are kind of freaked out about getting their hair cut. So maybe you could write a little book about that. Sometimes I get nervous when I'm getting my hair cut. The student could be featured in the story. Maybe they can help create that story. And then they can go back and review that, of course, until they're really comfortable with what's going to happen. And then hopefully they can have a more positive experience with it. So I do have a book I created, but I'm not going to show you that right now. You can see the screenshot and get the idea. Another way to use bookmaking for an expression tool is thinking about a daily journal. A lot of times students have a prompt or a daily journal prompt, or a lot of them would have a notebook they'd handwrite or draw their daily journal. Maybe Book Creator or Story Creator or one of these tools could be their daily journal. So again, super easy. I just tap it and type out, you know, words, phrases, or whole sentences. I can import a picture. I can draw on it with the crayon, just like you see right there. And it's super easy to use as a daily journal for those emerging writers, especially like kindergarten level would be great. Okay, so I'll give you a quick visual on how that looks live, pretty similar to that, but I'll just take a couple minutes on Story Creator and then we'll move into our final app. It just takes me a second to do this screen mirroring, so thanks for your patience. And yeah, feel free to type any more questions or comments. If you use Story Creator in any awesome ways, I'd love to hear about that as well. Oh. Okay, so here I've got both Story Creator and Story Creator Pro. And this is kind of how it looks if you're going to make a new story. So you can just say, you just hit the plus at the bottom, which I had done. And then, okay, thank you. And now I'll use my same thing because it's so easy, flowers. And then again, just choose photo, go to my photo album. Recent, yeah. Let's go yellow this time. Awesome. Move and scale. And then now I got my cover, and now it prompts me to do my first page. So as you can see, I really like the simplicity of this. This might be a reason you choose this over the other tools I mentioned, especially for someone who's just an emerging writer. So again, it does have some cool layouts. Let's do this one side by side. And I can choose a photo again. Oh, didn't go to my cameras. Okay. So you can insert a photo, you can insert text. Yellow. Oh, right down there. So the text would be kind of, okay, I'd probably put a whole sentence there. I can record. Yellow flowers are my favorite. And then that would go in there. Oh, that's good. Okay. Yellow flowers are my favorite. Now I hear it. Yellow flowers are my favorite. I don't use this one as often, so I'm kind of playing around, but you can see, easy to create a page, trash it, add a photo, so pretty basic. And then there's my coloring tools. Let's go ahead and take yellow. I can change the thickness, let's make it really thick. Yeah. So I think students might have fun with that, especially if you have a stylist and you're doing that with them. Pretty simple. There's not a lot to this one. Oh, I think there's some stickers here too. Oh yeah. Oh man, who isn't into My Little Pony as far as little girls go? I have a granddaughter who is, so that's fun too. All right, cool. I'm just going to say that much about that one. You got the idea why you'd use this maybe as a different tool than the other ones we've seen so far. And I'm just going to check the messages or chat window and see if anyone had a question for me. Sorry about that. And feel free to unmute if you have a question at this point. And I'm going to hit the chat window again. Oh, I had it. Sorry, sometimes this navigation is a little wonky when you're sharing. Here we go. Oh, good. You like the demos. That's good feedback. Are these videos only? That's not an app. Yeah, okay. Okay, let's go into our final tool, which is ClickerBooks. What's awesome about ClickerBooks is it's very full-featured and it has probably the best accessibility features built in. It can be part of a full software program if you're familiar with Clicker 7. It's a full suite software for writing support, which includes bookmaking, but it also has graphic organizers. It has sentence stems and sentence grids, and it has word prediction and word banks. It has every possible writing support you can imagine is built into this tool. And this particular version, Clicker 7 and now Clicker 8, is oriented probably a little more toward elementary, although I have used this with special ed students in secondary. And you can see here on the home page, they made it real easy to get started fast. You just go to, as soon as you open the software, you can just click on Make a Clicker Book and get this screen that you see here to the right. And then I'll show you a little bit how that works, where you just kind of go through each of these tools and it walks you through how to make a book. ClickerBooks is also an app for iOS, so you can buy it individually without the full software. All of these tools are fairly pricey, but I will say they are the most robust and probably the best quality of all the apps out there. So you can't go wrong if you have access to Clicker. I highly advise this, that you take a look at it and learn a little bit more about it. Clicker 8 has been out now, probably 9 months or so. And I actually just got my hands on a copy this last week. So I took these screenshots from the new copy, and the difference you can see now is it's a lot cleaner interface. So when I open Clicker 8 on the left, you can see how it looks now, or now I'm just, okay, I can still easily create a new document, a new board, which is basically a graphic organizer, or a new book. So I would just create a new book by clicking on that icon. And now again, instead of the multicolored, which I kind of liked, they want to make sure that some students, especially older students, have something that looks more like everyone else. They don't want to look different and stand out so much. So it still has kind of the 4 icons on the left, but they're all kind of blue with just white lines. So similar to Navigate, just a slightly different, cleaner interface for Clicker 8. So I just wanted to show you the difference. If you're lucky enough to have access to Clicker 8, you've got the latest and greatest. It's good stuff. So, but Clicker 7's probably been around for at least 5 years, but it's still running strong. It's still doing great. So if you do have access to Clicker 7, it's still an awesome, robust tool. Use it as long as you can, although I know, again, they're shifting, of course, to the new version here and wanting to get people over. So I just wanted you to know that it's in the full version and it's also a standalone app. So what kinds of books can you make with Clicker Books? You can make just a regular book that you can read on your own. So you see here on the left, this just has picture, a text. It has an audio button that you can click and listen to the book being read aloud. And then just forward and back arrows. And notice these arrows because this is how a Switch user would navigate a book. So if you wanted your Switch users to have access to literacy, this is a real wonderful tool to do that. And it's super easy to set up with switches and it works really reliably for them to navigate pages. And if they are able to use 2 switches, they can turn the page with 1 switch and read the page with the 2nd switch. So that's what makes that so special. Again, there's a read it yourself tool, means they have a pre-made book and it's kind of like an auto read. So you don't have to do as much navigation. You can just click play and it will read, or they can navigate on their own. Oh, actually, I think read it yourself means you read it and it does not read out loud. You read it yourself verbally and or silently to yourself. And then you can see in the lower right, then there's this tool for making a book, which is really awesome. Similar to some of the other tools, you can see the icon that tells you to put in a picture on the left. And then on the right, you've got this writing field. And the different thing about Clicker Books is look at all the writing supports. Not only do you have word prediction that you can turn on to write on your book, you could also have all these vocabulary words in a word bank are available to you as you're writing books. If you set that up ahead of time or you find a pre-made book template with this. So again, lots of great supports built into Clicker Books for just reading them out loud for students with Switch users or writing. And again, any student can navigate finger touch, swiping, or switches. So here's kind of a close-up of just a blank Clicker book. And I think when I have a few minutes left, I can show it to you live again too. But these 4 icons, top to bottom, just represent creating a title box. So click that first, a title box pops up. Then you go to the red icon and click that, and then a box would pop up where you just click and insert a picture or take a picture. Then the third one is you'd add your text, which is usually a text field at the bottom of the screen. And then you just type it in with word prediction, word banks, whatever support's needed. And then finally you add this sound button, which is the bottom one. And that allows you to click on it and listen to the story read back to you. Or you can record your own voice reading that book. So the teacher could be the teacher voice, the parent's voice, or the student's voice that's recorded. So oftentimes, we're reading books and taking that information in as a representation idea. So you can see an example here again, really clean line book. See the speaker here and the 2 arrows. I talked about that earlier. Those dots at the bottom represent each page of the book. So with that white dot that you are on page 2. And as you sweep through the pages, you can see how close you're getting to the end and how many more pages there are. That's another really nice feature of Clicker. Here's a screenshot of what I was showing on the first one, expression ideas for Clicker, making your own book. Again, super easy to put in pictures of your choice. And then you can see a little closer up here how this particular word bank actually has starter words, verbs, small words, adjectives, nouns. So it's called a topic word bank, which is really handy. And then what you see up on the top here, you see this is a word bank. The green icon is you can pop up an on-screen keyboard if that's preferable for a student, or this is your word prediction icon. So you would click any of those to get access to those tools while you write. Finally, another advantage of Clicker 7, I mentioned earlier that Pictello didn't have a resource bank to go get pre-made activities, but Clicker does. So their resource is called Learning Grids. It's free. Anyone can go look at those and access them. You can sign up for free to get those. Of course, to use them, you'll need a copy of Clicker to play the activities, but it's really great. You can actually search by category. You can, in that search window, you can search by a one-word topic. Let's say you were doing something on the rainforest or on Olympics or whatever the topic was, circus. You could type it in and those activities would pop up to the top. The other cool thing, if you notice here, you can click on whether you want Clicker Books or Clicker Writer. There is a place where you can actually tell if you want a book or sentence strips. That looks a little different, Clicker Apps. Okay, well anyway, yeah, you can tell what kind of activity you want it to look for as well, and it does that. So we'll see how much time I have left. Oh, here's one where I just pulled up Clicker Books, so you can see the Clicker Books are the blue icons. Peter's Feelings, Make a Book. And this is kind of cool because it has a whole set of activities around this book. So make a book. This is sentence writing. It's talking about the book, a talk set, or here's the Clicker book to make a book. So you can have a whole series of activities, reading and writing around one theme, including a book. So that's another really nice thing you can find in the learning grids. Okay, lastly, I wanted to just talk to you here about accessibility. In order to do accessibility with Clicker 7 specifically, and I'm assuming it's similar to Clicker 8 now, you would get a Crick USB switch box. And the last time I tried, you can also use a Don Johnston switch interface if you knew the right settings to put in there. And then 1 or 2 switches. So you just need a switch interface and switches. And then I went ahead and wrote up directions. So if this is something you want to go back and try, you can hopefully follow my directions and it'll work. Again, the caveat is this was created for Clicker 7 and there might be some adjustments needed to do it with Clicker 8, but it's basically the same idea. So let me know if you want to do a SETI Tech Assist to troubleshoot a switch setup for any of your students with Clicker or with Pictello for sure. And if you want to brainstorm on Book Creator, like I said, I know it's possible and I can help you figure it out if you want to do that as well. Okay, so this was just, if you have the Crick USB, here's the steps. If you actually have a Don Johnston Switch Interface Pro, here's the steps. So I won't go through that now, but basically I just wanted that to be a resource for you to look back on. So let's see, how are we doing? 26. I'm just going to do a quick flash, share my screen, and then we'll wrap it up. So I'm going to share Clicker Books, show you what it looks like in the app. It's coming. There it is. Yellow flowers are my favorite. There's that last one. So we're going to go to Clicker Books, which looks like this. Oh, apparently this is one I had. Okay, so when I go into edit mode, I'm going to go to that folder on the upper left, and this is what I wanted to show you about this. These are some pre-made ones, kind of like that learning grids I talked about, where you could have an Animal Homes read about it, Animal Homes talk about it, or Animal Homes write about it. So I just wanted to show you that series because it's kind of cute. So this would be an example of a pre-made book. And this icon down here on the left means someone has recorded their voice.
Animal Homes, read.
Or it could be a synthesized voice. And I'm swiping to turn the pages. And then I'm going to tap to read or click that little.
Rabbits dig underground holes called burrows. They hide in the burrows when there is danger.
So if you don't like that voice, you can go back and edit any of these books. And then I believe you can actually put your own voice in there and record it.
Rabbits dig underground holes called burrows.
Okay.
They hide in the burrows when there is danger.
Sorry about that. Okay, so there's the title if I want to change that. And then I'd have to go back to down here. Well, let me. There we go. Okay, see how I've highlighted that, and now there was a record button at the top.
Rabbits dig underground holes called burrows.
I'll have to edit again. being a little punchy. There, so I can say, rabbits dig underground holes called burrows. They hide in the burrows when there is danger. Now, I go back. Rabbits dig underground holes called burrows. They hide in the burrows when there's danger. So it's really cool that you can go back to things that are pre-made and you can edit them and just tweak them for your own devices. So you don't always have to create things from scratch. It's kind of fun to actually find something that's really cool and edit it. So you can see pretty cute story, great pictures. And now I want to just see what this, I'm going to show you the right about it because I know we're short on time, but now I've got the same pictures I just read about, and it's real easy for me to have the student add text. So I'm going to swipe the page. You can see here, add text. I just click on that, or I can just click on edit and then add text, and the student can be writing about each of those pictures. What do they know about a little rabbit, a baby rabbit? So these are kind of fun for having something ready to go that you can just have the student add text and do some quick editing on the story, and it's already set up for that. So this is something that's really great about Clicker. It's got so much built-in and pre-made resources. It's really, again, more full-featured, more robust in that way. Okay, and awesome. So you can see here, you can also go straight to Learning Grids through the app on the left, upper left there if I wanted to, and it would take me out there. But I want to take a lot of pages on that. Oh, and then here's, I don't know how I did that, but you can see all the pages of that book I was just in. Okay, and then to create a new one, there's a plus at the bottom. I just hit the plus and say new book. Oh, and I'm going to title it and say, okay, good, book one, let's do it. And now you can see that, remember how I showed you the slide, title, picture, writing, and then talk about it. Voice. So it's as easy as that, kind of walking through those 4 parts and just doing, see how it just puts it up there and then lets me edit just one step at a time. Then there's the picture, there's the text at the bottom, and there's the little record button or voice reader button. And then I would just tap and fill in those parts. So that's how easy that is. Again, plus you can go back easily to this main page and check out what's pre-made here, or go to Learning Grids and you can find more that's pre-made. Okay, so I'll stop there. Okay, thanks for your patience. It always takes a little longer to do those transitions, but it is fun to see it live. So just want to stop one more time and see if there's any other last questions about any of those tools or some new idea that you got. You type in the chat. You can unmic at this point if you want to share. There we go. I'll get to that chat window again. And Clicker rate. Oh, yeah, no problem if you have to head out. Our district just got our logins for Clicker. Oh, good. If you're excited about that, make sure you check out Clicker Books. Yeah. Clicker Books can be used on all platforms. So there's a Chrome extension for, well, wait a minute. I'm not sure if Clicker Books has a Chrome extension, but Clicker 7 and Clicker 8 both include Clicker Books. So the full software does, and I know the Chrome extensions, there's 3 or 4 of them, and I don't remember if Clicker Books is a Chrome extension yet, but definitely in the software and in an app. Okay, good. Anything else? Sounds like you're all heading out to meetings, which is great. So I'm going to go ahead and stop recording. I'll stick around if anyone wants to unmic and ask any more questions. Thank you so much for coming, and I will send you guys all out the PDF of this PowerPoint, and there's lots of links to help you out here, plus links within here. So good. Hopefully you got some ideas on something new to go explore.